Okay. So Aaron, good to be with you. Glad we got a chance to do this. We're gonna do a interview today, and as I said, then we'll be putting that into an article. So I'm really glad to have you on. So most of my audience knows me. I'm Jed Diamond, the founder of Men Alive, and so I'm really glad to have Aaron Meyers with me, who is the CEO of the really interesting and unusual program, which we're going to get into, of Hammer and Nails. So, welcome, Aaron, to the podcast, and start by telling us a bit about Hammer and Nails, its origin on the Shark Tank TV program, which most people know about, and we'll kind of take off from there.
Yeah, sure. So super excited to be here. Thanks for having me on. Hammer and Nails started, as you just mentioned, as an idea of kind of a gentleman named Michael Elliot, and he was a screenwriter in Los Angeles, and he really craved a place where he could feel comfortable getting his nails worked on. And he wanted to get manicures and pedicures, but he didn't enjoy going where his wife went. And he went on Shark Tank with this idea, and he didn't get a deal. And the Sharks felt that there wasn't going to be enough business for men to do their nails. Well, my business partner and I, John Choi and I, we saw that Shark Tank episode, um, and we talked about becoming franchisees, and then eventually talked about becoming owners of the company. We felt that we could really take our franchising experience that I had and some of the other investors had in franchising, and John. Between us, we'd been in franchising quite a while. We took that concept that he went on Shark Tank with of just men's nails, and we kind of rounded it out. We brought in men's haircuts, men's shaves, waxing, and kind of brought kind of more full, robust menu to the process. And then we brought in membership. So I came from membership land. I was an executive at Massage Envy. John was a developer with Massage Envy, and so we really figured that men's grooming was ripe for an overhaul. That if we brought in membership and we brought in the right environment and we brought in the right services, we could build a higher quality men's grooming concept. We felt we could raise the bar for what men are receiving around the country. And long story short, it's working. Men are responding. They want to come to a place that treats them respectfully, that treats them professionally, that takes care of them in a way other places in the United States just don't, or forget even outside of the United States. We really
Yeah.
have just tried to build this kind of cool environment, and that's what we strive to build.
Well, that's really great because, as you know, I've been in the men's health field for more than 50 years now, and I've written 17 books on various aspects of men's health. I wrote an international bestseller. It was called Male Menopause. It's been translated into, I think, 24 foreign languages at this time. And really, it was at a time where, the health field generally, and certainly the whole area of men's hormonal and physiological health was, that was women's thing. Women went through menopause, women had these needs, women had special needs that men didn't have. And yet, when I wrote the book, I had hit a chord, and this was in 1997 when this was first came out and became an international bestseller. And it really awakened me to the reality that two things that weren't very obvious. One is that men were really interested in their own health and well-being. And the kind of rap before that was that, well, the women pay attention to how they look, they pay attention to how they feel, they pay attention to their needs for, health care. But men, we're too busy. We got work to do. We don't care that much. That's not something that we do. But what I found is that men were ready for a change in how we're viewed and what our needs are. And you've said what your experience has been in that field of grooming and more expanded ways in which men are treated, that this is something that you've recognized that men not only want, they need, and they're looking for the place that really serves them. So give us a sense of if we came into a one of the hammer and nails shops. It's really not a shop, it's really an experience and it's really a place for men. But give us a sense. We walk in, we get a kind of
Sure.
picture over your shoulder of kind of a
Yeah,
little bit of, but give us a feel of what we would see, how we would be greeted, what
sure.
options we have. You mentioned some of them, but go into a little more detail about
Yeah,
what the
sure.
experience is like.
Yeah, we've strived for more maybe speakeasy than we do bright lights and rock and roll or
Uh,
loud, where you're gonna see more low light. You're gonna see a kind of it'll be high energy in the barbering room. The music's a little louder, but we have you'll notice right when you walk in, there's not a lot of chairs in the lobby. We don't have people waiting for long. 98% of our services are done by appointment. So when you walk in the door, we're getting you into your chair quickly. You're greeted by your name. If we know who you are and you've been in before, we know what your favorite drink is. We have that drink ready for you. We escort you quickly to your chair. You're going to receive whatever service it is you've booked, which is typically it's one of four services. I mean, the majority of things we do are haircuts, straight razor shaves, manicures, and pedicures. We have a separate manicure room, so we built a whole what we kind of for fun call like a man cave, kind of this cool separate room, completely separate, big screen TVs, Bose headphones. You're able to have a drink, whether alcoholic or not. We're not forcing alcohol, but we do carry some alcohol. But you're really trying to strive for a longer experience. Men have been told for the last 50 years that you should get in and out of your haircut as fast as you can. Many haircut businesses out there are doing 5 haircuts an hour. That's 12 minutes a cut. So, what you're going to get from us is a minimum 30 minutes a cut. And the majority of our most popular services are 45 minutes, and our highest end services are an hour. So you're going to get somebody that takes their time. You're going to get somebody that spends time understanding clearly what it is you want. You're going to have somebody that spends time to pay attention to all of the details of what it is you need, and you're going to relax. You probably fall asleep depending on the services that you're getting. Like we're trying to give you a treatment that you've never received before. And that's what we've strived to is just to treat people well so that they're kind of blown away by the environment and how they feel after the service.
mm,
You mentioned that men are looking for it. I would say that men are beginning to look for self-care and understand that grooming helps them feel better. Some guys, I mean, I hear still, this is my first pedicure. Why have I been putting this off for so
right.
long? Like, why have I not been doing these services? We hear that every day. We have over 25,000 members and growing quickly. We'll be over 50,000 by the end of the year. And our customers say often, I didn't realize what I was missing
So
until I
speak a
came.
little more to the men that you see. I know when I started out and writing books and doing clinical work with men, that the kind of core age group that I started with was men that were basically 40 to 55 was my kind of main clientele. But it didn't take long before I found younger men were coming in and older men were coming in.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so is that a similar demographic to who you're
yeah.
seeing or?
We built the model for 35 to 50,
Mhm.
55. But to your point, in a very similar way, we attracted men from a much broader age group than we expected. The younger generation, say 17 and up, that generation understands self-care immediately. They're like, yeah, I should take care of myself. I should take care of how I eat. I take care of how I feel. I take care of my hands, my feet. Like it's obvious to them, and they have zero hesitation. And then on the other side, we've been attracting kind of an older generation where guys, once they get past 55 into 60, 65, they also have challenges with their feet and hands, and they need that regular grooming as well to help them be their healthiest. We do have some people coming in with that are diabetic, and so they need certain massages, and we need to be careful. But in general, we just ended up building for one core, but have attracted a much larger gamut because all men are looking for a place, and really, there are very few places built where men can go and do this. It's just not it's not common without throughout society right now where there's a place where men can go that's built for them. And I want to be clear, women are allowed in, but we've built this environment to cater to men and they off
You
like I
do that
mentioned.
well. And
Yeah.
I would just share a couple of stories from my experience. So
Yep.
I was, interested. I was a guy from the time I was young that I love sports. I played sports. I was real active. I have children and grandchildren that play sports. I have actually two of my grandsons play in the National Football League. They, came out of college and got drafted by the New England Patriots and got Super Bowl rings their first year. They've been playing for 10 years in the National Football League. So I came from that kind of a background, but I also early on, because probably where I lived, I lived in Marin County, which is fairly affluent, part of the San Francisco Bay Area. And when I was, in my 20s, I had a friend and he introduced me to this. He said, I just went to the corner barber, in the regular kind of thing. What I liked about it was it was a manly place. You talked, you shared stories. It was kind of the old time barber shop and guys that gave straight razor, and I saw that with, my father. I saw it with other guys. I liked that, but as I became a guy, I was busy. I had other things to do, but this friend said we ought to go at least, once a month into San Francisco and
Right.
go to one of these places. Well, San Francisco had places like that.
Right.
Not like what you're describing. It was much more limited, but you got a really good haircut.
Yep.
You got pampered, and I did that, periodically, but it was a ways. It was a long way. And now I live in a small town. And I started, you mentioned pedicures. As I've gotten older, I need to stay in shape in my feet. I walk every day. I'm athletic. But, as you get older, as you say, you need that kind of care, not just to have nice toenails, but to be able to walk well, to be able to
Right.
get them
Yeah.
clipped regularly.
Your
And
feet
the
carry
only
you
places
everywhere.
in my small town were the women's shops. Then
That's right.
where they got their nails done and that. And I hated going in there.
Right.
It was uncomfortable. They had blaring, it was women's place. There were very few guys that even went in. I
Yep.
hated it. And so one of the things that I want you to talk a little bit about is the breadth at which your shops are available, that you're not just a big city where you go into a place like San Francisco or a big city, Chicago or wherever, where maybe that's more prevalent. But you're in places you like where I live in smaller towns, in places where
We are as
the
well.
average guy hangs out and can get this. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're opening all over the country. We're on a very big clip. We're gonna open 20 plus locations in the next, 12 weeks. So it's the growth is happening quickly, but our brand has succeeded in large cities, which is not fully expected. But we've also opened in smaller towns in El Paso. We've opened in Canton, Ohio, though, right? Like we've opened in some blue collar towns, and people looked at us like, "Are you sure that this is the spot you're picking?" And we were confident that it would work, and the data shows and the results show that we are succeeding in small town blue collar America, and we're succeeding in wealthy upscale communities across in the states that you're like in Florida and California. So we can do well in New York, we can do well in Canton because the desire for that self-care is the same. Men are maybe different, the countries may be different, but men do desire a certain quality and caliber of care, and once they receive it, once they feel how that experience works, they're going to come back. One thing you mentioned about being athletic, athletes is who understand this topic best. They are so fast and they're already doing it. Like professional athletes get their self-care and grooming and they have for 30 years.
Right.
Professional athletes get manicures, they get pedicures. They understand that their hands and their feet are the most important things that are helping them become or be that athlete they want to be. They understand about recovery and getting healthy and getting their head right. We think back to Deion Sanders back in the 80s and 90s, and they asked Deion, why do you dress this way? And he said, because when I dress good, I feel good, and when I feel good, I play good, and when I play good, they pay good. Like athletes have understood that this type of care turns into something else. When you feel right, you're a better husband, you're a better professional, you're a more confident person, you stand taller. You I mean, we've even seen some data recently that is pretty interesting that men that get pedicures are more emotive with their hands because they're not afraid to show their hands and that they're able to communicate more clearly. Um, so whether it's manicures, pedicures, there's a lot of shame out there from men that they are upset about how their hands and feet look, or their hair, or their beard, and we're trying to kind of destigmatize that and help men feel comfortable with how it is their bodies work and help them look and feel their best.
Well, I
One,
think one of the things that stands out for me as I've learned about what you do is that, there's a lot of advertising. You see it on TV all the time of, the guy that has the shower gel or the, particular product that's a manly product. And uh, what I think that is missing that you provide is a place for guys to come because yeah, you can do with, certain things at home. You can try to eat well, you can, but you're, I actually, was hired professionally to be able to tell companies that are trying to, be under attack for not having usually women, in their environments, the service clubs that used to be all male now are, adding women. And so I was hired by a number of the international service clubs to be able to make the argument that men need spaces where men can be and be around other men just like women do. Now, women have lots of spaces like that that are primarily women, but increasingly, legally and in many of that there aren't places where men feel comfortable that are geared towards men. You mentioned that you have women, the membership, which I'll talk to you a
we
little bit
yeah,
about in a
we
minute,
don't stop women from
allows for women, but men need places, and as you say, when we get them, we want to come, we want to, take our time, we want out of our very busy day, if we're professionals like many of us are, we want a time to just relax, to be able to be pampered, to be taken care of, and to look, feel our best, and then bring that home to our wives, our families, our kids, and it
correct.
it impacts every aspect of our lives. So,
Yes.
uh,
Yeah,
talk a little
we
bit about the membership aspect of what you do, because I really liked the concept and the way in which it implements and really gives you a sense of, we spend a lot of time going to doctors or going, let's spend some time going to places where we're nourished, so whether it's massage, which I get regularly, or other services. Let's make it so that we feel good, not just going when we feel bad.
Yeah, for sure. We built a private club is what we've really built for men, and uh, you access that through a membership. You don't have to be a member to come in and try us out, but the majority of people that do join. The interesting fact, I again, 99% of our business is men. We've catered to men towards men. One thing that about our services that's unique is that we don't have chemicals. So women's nail salons have to have very high powered ventilation systems. They pump out all the cancer causing toxic chemicals out of the building. The people working on you have to wear face masks because they don't want to breathe in these chemicals, but I guess it's fine for you to breathe in as a customer. Um, and we don't have any of that. We only do natural nail care. We don't do polish, we don't do acrylics, we don't do colors, we don't do designs. We're doing it because it's what's healthy and what works. And so even women are saying, "Hey, that's better." When a wife comes in with her husband, we predominantly hear, "This is better than where I go." And that's when the man actually gets a smile when he's like, "Yeah, but this is for me." Like there's some pride for them. But we really have tried to design a space that's meant to be a place where you can walk in, be yourself, no matter the color of your collar, whether it's white or blue, and take care of yourself and kind of refresh, reload, and then walk out the door feeling tolerant. I I try to liken it. I try to give people the feeling you get. Maybe it's like when you get your shoes shined. You walk a little taller. It's like that same
Yeah.
feeling, like you've walked out, and there's a difference between a 12-minute haircut and a 45-minute experience. There's a difference between hot towels and neck massages and 10-minute shampoos. And, there's just an environment that is designed to replenish and
Mm,
refill you. And in our case, and we hear this from some of our male customers, people don't get a lot of human contact in some cases right now.
right.
People are not everybody's married and in relationships, and some that are like this is some of the only contact men get. So we've tried to take this as serious as we can, but we're not overly serious environment. We're just trying to build a safe, fun place for men to come and take
Well,
care
it
of.
sounds, inviting. And say a little more. You mentioned how rapidly you're growing. Um, Talk about how many places you are now. You don't have to list every
Oh yeah, I
town
got
that
it.
people
Oh, I
can.
know our spots.
Well, so give us a sense, where you are now, how many places, what's in the works for, you mentioned what's coming up, where you're going to have, and when we do the article, we'll, list how people can find your website and find out where,
Sure.
specific places are. But give people a sense of where you are now and where you're expanding to.
Yeah, so we're in, 20 plus states right now. We're gonna open up our 50th location in Tennessee or Santa Monica. There's like a race to be number 50 right now, and it's gonna
Yeah.
happen in the next 2 weeks. We'll finish this year about 70 to 75 locations open. We'll cross over 100 locations in 2026. It's difficult to forecast precisely, but probably something between 140 and 150 in 27. So we're definitely growing fast. A few years ago, we thought opening five in a year was exciting. So now we're up to, 30 and 40 and 50. It's hard to see how big it goes. In my old company that I came from, we were opening 100 a year. So we've kind of always set that as the bar, but it's hard to know if that's
Yeah,
exactly where we'll end up. But,
right. Well, you're
it's,
doing something right, and that's part of what attracted me to when I found out about you is that I'm always on the lookout for healthcare related companies that are doing good work and that are unusual. I mean, the truth is, and this is kind of, I'll tell you a little bit about the healthcare system that most of us go to, that whether it's mental health or physical health, I think we would all agree it's not adequate for, taking care of us. Trying to go to a doctor, or you may get a psychologist or psychiatrist to help with the stresses that we have, or marriage and family counseling, which is what I do. The truth is that they're hard to even find a competent, good therapist, number one. Secondly, the hoops you got to go through to deal with insurance and deal with medications and all of those things are cumbersome at best and unhelpful. And I think, quite honestly, we need to get back in many ways, not to say my profession, I love it. I do the work. I see a lot of good people, but we need a lot more. And I want to just, in a sense, give a plug for places like yours and yours in particular, not only for the direct services that you do, but to recognize that more subtle underlying process is say a club for men, not only to feel good, look good, but the way in which we're taken care of, the way
Yeah,
in which, I'm guessing when you go in, the interactions, the sharing you do, talking to other guys, talking to the people that
yeah, sure.
provide the services. It's like a very deep mental emotional health clinic that is serving people that might not need more intensive counseling. If you have this kind of thing, you're not going to be as lonely, cut off, feeling like you don't count. So I just put in a plug for not only what you're doing now, but I can see even what you're doing expanding, men getting information about health services, at a
Yep.
place where, it's informal, where you're talking together. Yeah, I went to this place and I got this information. Yeah, so I see it as in the future, maybe even broader than you're thinking it is right now. Do you have a
Yeah,
feel of that might being
yeah,
possible?
I do think that. I mean, when you join our club and you become a member of our private club, you're joining a community, and our members utilize that community and access that community in kind of unique ways. We have people that are holding even business events now. Instead of taking clients out to dinner, they're hosting events at our places. They're bringing their employees and rewarding them with treatments at our places like this. But you're definitely going to connect with people. I mean, what a good barber and a good nail tech and a good you know, anybody that's going to cut your hair in our environment, there none of them are licensed therapists. Well, maybe very few, but you're definitely going to have someone to talk with, connect with, but you're going to connect with the other guys in the chairs. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a community that you're a part of. The barber shop's been around for hundreds of years across time, and we've just tried to take it and make it maybe improve it slightly. We felt that it had lost its way in terms of what barbershops were supposed to be. And if we built it without gimmicks, without games, without pinball machines, without fake bravado or gimmicks that without a tool chest that acts like a countertop, we just wanted to be professional, high quality, nice, not pandering. And if you did that, then you would end up with guys voting with their feet because they wanted to be there. So we're very proud to be a place where guys can come access community, talk with each other. We do partner with several organizations, and we've partnered with Zero Cancer and Movember Foundation through different fundraisers to bring
Hmm.
health care to men, whether through prostate cancer or different types of cancer.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so we've done different partnerships, and I do think we'll expand over time. We're looking for the right partner for us that helps us, really continue to deliver what men need. Men are looking for information. They're looking for ways to take better care of themselves, and our members are very receptive to what we bring to the table in terms of different
Well,
types of.
let me ask you, as we're kind of getting towards the end of time for interview, let me ask you, from a business point of view, I liked the concept from the beginning. I could imagine going into a place like yours, but I really had a very limited understanding of franchises, and quite frankly, what my experience with franchises has not been real good. I mean, most of us think of franchise. I don't know if this is most of us. Me, let's speak about me. Where I see franchises is mostly in the food industry, of McDonald's and other. And not to say those aren't good places, but they're not the kind of place I eat. They're not the kind of place that most of the people I know eat because, quite frankly, they're not that healthy. But they're all over, they're everywhere. And I'd like you to maybe talk a little bit about the the kind of franchise you are and how that differs from what people might have in mind of, what a franchise might be and why they might go to a franchise that's yours. And if they have a negative view or even if they have a positive, you say a little bit about the business aspect of what you do and why the franchise concept that you have may be at a
Sure.
higher quality than what maybe people like me might imagine.
Well, let me give just a little plug for all franchising. And I'm not just I'm not pro franchising everything, but I just want to make a couple of
Yeah.
statistical points that are important to understand. About 4% of franchises close within their first 5 years.
Mm.
About 50% of people that go into business independently close within their first 5 years, right? So the people going into business by themselves, having to figure everything out on their own, have an exceptionally high failure rate. I'm not trying to scare people off. If that's your dream, go do what you got to do. But franchising is has proven that it can help people succeed. You're buying in to somebody, right? We've opened 50. We've learned all the knowledge from opening 50 and then 100. And then we take all of that knowledge from the group that we've all opened and then we give that to you. And we give you processes and systems and tools and knowledge so that you're in business for yourself, but you're not by yourself. I mean, I think, let's see here. Yeah, so in 2024, the United States opened 15,000 more franchises, and there's 820,000 franchises across the United States. Franchising works, and it works not just for our brand. I do think that our brand is unique and special, but I am a huge believer of what franchising does as a whole. I think what we've tried to do that has made us unique is we are passionate about ensuring that our franchisees can get to profitability as fast as possible. We've done things to help them, like we do pre-sales. We sell memberships before you even open, so that when you unlock your door, you have 200 members, maybe 300 members. So you're busy from the second you open because we want you profitable quickly so that stressful 6, 8 months to profitability isn't there, right? Hopefully you can profit quicker with our model. So we've tried to design our model in a way that helps people kind of de-stress. There's still work. So I'm not saying you're not going to work. I'm just saying that if you follow our processes, if you follow the systems, if you don't resist and think that you're going to figure out a better mousetrap, trust the knowledge of the people that have gone before you, you're going to succeed. You're going to have great results. Um, and that doesn't mean there's no risk. There's always risk in business, but we've tried to de-risk the concept of opening your own barbershop. Um, and
Well,
we
that's
haven't closed any locations in the last 6 years. So our
mm.
shops are opening, they're succeeding, they're performing well. I mean, if we weren't doing well, they would close, and they're not closing because uh, customers are coming in the doors, franchisees are succeeding, they're opening second and third shops. I've always been a fan of asking a franchisor this one question, right? When you're trying to figure out what percentage of your locations or your franchisees are buying a second one, because that's the ultimate vote. You bought
Sure.
one,
Yeah,
and
this
now
one
you're
works. I want another one.
I want another one. Right. And so, right, our franchisees are buying number two, number three, number four, and number five because they're happy with how their experience has been with our concept. And we do that by being franchisee centric. We're passionate about building a supportive environment for franchisees nationwide. We share best practices, we share knowledge, we share tools. And if you follow our system, you can be very successful.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And I want to put in a plug. It's a very different aspect of what you're saying. But, I work in the men's health field, and I've been doing it for 50 plus years. And I got in kind of early on and established a business, and it's been a very successful business that I've had to do, but it was difficult starting out. And any business is difficult starting out. I know it's any
Amen.
business you pick. There are very few that start
You
out in
bet.
instant success. But men's health, as opposed to women's health, as businesses generally, men's have been very difficult because of the view that men didn't need or didn't use those services. And so in my field, I've written a number of articles about the men's health field as a good business for the future because there's a lot of people that would like to go into a business that not only did well financially, but did good. I talk about doing well by, meaning financially and not just financially, but in your own well-being, feeling good at the end of the day, not feeling stressed, but doing good in the world, doing something that in fact improves the world, makes it a little better place. And I think we'd agree if you just look at the world of men, from wars to conflicts to
Yeah.
suicide to loneliness to depression. I mean, not all men, of course, but a lot of men are not doing well. A lot of families are not doing well because the men in the families are not doing well themselves. So to be able to be in a business, whatever that is, I'm in the men's health business, and there's a lot of different men's health things that people are into. But I just want to add a pitch for that concept of men's health being something where you can do good and do well. And I think you
Yeah, right.
exemplify both of
Yeah.
those aspects.
Amen. I mean, men are have historically been criminally underserved in physical grooming, wellness. Like it has not been something that's catered to, but the demand is so high. And I think those two things come together and build a situation where you can succeed financially as a business owner and, to your point, do it by taking care of men, right? Helping men. So for you to win financially and do it while doing good for or helping other people live better lives, I mean, I think that's a perfect match.
Exactly.
If you can feel good about what it is you're doing, then this is this is what you should do. Like that's what you should strive for in life, in my opinion.
Well,
And
that's good. So
I
let's
agree.
wrap up for now and tell
Okay.
people, and I'll, when I put our article together, I will, add in the specifics of how people can reach you. But why don't you say, for those that may just see the video that we're doing, how people can find out about who you are, what you do, and where specific places are that they can go, give your website and how people can connect.
Yeah, I think the best place to go is hammerandnailsgrooming.com. Just spelled out hammer and nails grooming.com. You go to our website, you're going to be access all of our locations. You'll be able to see our entire menu of services from classic to VIP to premium to luxe. You'll be able to see all of the history behind our business. You'll even be able to go click on our franchise site from there and meet the entire team I work with that helps grow this franchise. So you can learn everything you need to learn on from our main website, hammerandnailsgrooming.com.
Well, that's super. Well, I really appreciated you taking time to be with me. I'd like to stay in touch as things grow and things change and connect you with the audience of men's world that I work in and vice versa. And so we'll say uh, good luck and cheers for now, and we'll stay in touch. So
Yeah, for sure.
thank you very much, Aaron, for being with us, and look forward to our continued well-being and working together in the future.
Sounds good, Jed. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, hang on.